Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca with Learning Together by Grace, and in today's video you are going to come along with me to sew this simple circle skirt for our Simple Summer Sewing series. Are y'all ready? I am. Let's go. Okay, you guys are down here on the floor with me today for this circle skirt. Now this is the fabric that I am using. And so what I'm going to do is fold it in half. This is my selvage end right here. And I'm gonna do, and then this is my other selvage end right here. So I'm folding my piece in half. And then I'm gonna make sure that I straighten it out, okay? This is a long piece of fabric. I haven't cut down into smaller pieces, so it's a little bit more challenging to fold. Alrighty, so after I do that and I have it nice and straightened out, what I'm gonna do is fold it in half again. And so I have it folded in half, let's think hot dog style. Now I'm gonna fold it in half hamburger style. All right, and so I am going to make my daughter's skirt 18 inches long. And so in order to do that, I am going to need this end right here that's folded to equal 18 inches long. And so we have two folded ends. This end is just a solid fold, and then this end, because it was folded on itself twice, has two folds, okay? So we are going to use this end as our edge for making our marks and everything. I'm just making sure that my fabric is nice and straight. Now, we have to do a little bit of math. We didn't think we would use math, right? So, my daughter's measurements, her waist measurement was 23 inches, okay? So, we have to divide it by 6.28, okay? And that is going to give us our waist measurement. I'm just gonna put it in my handy dandy calculator, okay? So we have 23 divided by 6.28. That is giving us 3.662, I'm just gonna round it up to 4, okay? And that'll give her a little bit of wiggle room. So, size 4 waist, remember it's on the fold, so we only want 4 inches. In order to do that, what we will do, again, this is that one single folded edge. We're going to put our tape measure right here at this edge, and we're going to mark off 4 inches, all right? So I'm gonna start here and mark off 4 inches. And then I'm going to keep it at this edge, like at the tip right here, and keep moving it around. And I'm going to mark off 4 inches again. And I'm just gonna keep going around, making sure that the tip of my measuring tape is in line with this fabric. And I'm gonna mark 4 again. And I'm just gonna keep going, making sure that this tip is in line with my measuring tape, and mark 4 inches again. And I'm going to do it one last time here at this corner, mark 4 inches. And now we have our waistline, so I'm just gonna go on and draw in this entire circle, okay? All right, I always like to, oops, look, I kind of got off. But I always like to measure again, just to be on the safe side before I cut into my fabric, especially if I am measuring on my fabric. Like, there's no need for me to not measure again. And so just to make sure that I got my lines in order. So 4, 4, keeping it at this edge, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Alrighty, so that is 4 inches all the way around this circle. Now, just to kind of give you an idea what's going to happen, being that this is folded in half, and hot dog style, and then folded in half hamburger style, when we cut this is going to cut an entire circle for us, okay? Alrighty, so our next order of business is getting our 18 inches. And so this is like right at 18 inches, which is so cool. And it's right above this selvage. The 18 inches is right above that selvage line. And so now I'm just going to mark 18 inches. And I'm going to keep it on this 4-inch mark line and just keep going over 18 inches. We're creating a circle by doing that, okay? And I'm gonna do it again, move it over just a little bit, 18 inches. Alrighty, I'm gonna speed this part up so that you guys don't have to sit here and be bored with me as I do these 18 inches. Okay, so I just did my final 18-inch mark. What I'm going to do is just go back around and measure to make sure that I did get those markings at 18 inches. So I'm starting over here, and that is 18 inches. 18. So far, we're doing good.
Hi.
We're making this skirt for her. For my darling Grace.
Yes.
Okay. I want to also show you how you can make this same pattern on a piece of paper. So I'll be back before I start cutting into this. In order to make this pattern, you need some kind of paper. I have this parchment paper from Costco. I have some tape and I have a pen. So we are going to get some pieces of parchment paper out and we are going to tape them together. So I'm going to tear these off. And then I will cut it. I will tape them together to make my pattern. I think 2 pieces will be fine. This is kind of wide parchment paper, so if you have, you know, the standard size parchment paper, you may need 3 pieces. And so no, they don't have to be perfectly aligned, but you know, just do the best that you can do. Okay, you guys, so now that I have my paper taped together, this is what we're going to do. Being that I don't have like a straight line across, I'm just going to go down just a little bit so that I can start on a straight line. So if you want to, you can cut your paper evenly. I'm not gonna do that because I have lines that are underneath my cutting mat that I can use. But if you desire to do that, you go ahead and cut this evenly straight across so that you have an even line. But I'm going to do it this way. So we're starting at 4 inches, which is right here. So from here to here, I'm just marking 4 inches, okay? And I'm gonna keep my measuring tape right here at this corner. I'm gonna go in and actually mark this up here just for reference, but I'm gonna keep it at this corner and I'm gonna keep marking off 4 inches. This is going to create my waist for my daughter's circle skirt. And I just wanna make sure that this tip stays in line with that marking up top and just keep marking 4 inches all the way around. We will stop marking the 4 inches across once we get in a straight line, okay? And so we are almost at that straight line. I'm just gonna do one more marking before that straight line. All right, now we are in a straight line, and I'm going to do my last 4-inch mark right here on that straight line, okay? And so what I'm gonna do now is just draw a straight line from here to here, that first marking. All right, so eventually I'm going to have a line going all the way across for the 18 inches that I'm about to measure out. All right, so this is our waist. Now, again, I don't think I mentioned, make sure you start on an edge because this will help you create that circle. All right, now next for our inches, we just start at that 4-inch mark. So from here to here, remember we have our 4 inches. And so what we want to do is go to that 4-inch mark at the edge and go down 18 inches, all right? And so that will be the length of our skirt. So from this to here is 18 inches, and we're just gonna make our marks, okay? All right, so what we have to make sure that we are doing, we have to make sure that we are moving along the bottom of our waistline. So move over. You're gonna make a mark down at 18 inches. Move over. So we're just gonna basically go across this waistline and turn our tape measure as we do that. I'm moving over to the very end, get that straight line, and mark at the 18 inches. Hold on, I need to make sure I get it on my straight line. So 18 inches. Alrighty, so I'm just going to fill in this line. Again, I'm gonna put this on my line here, or you can use your ruler, and I'm just going to draw in that line for you. All right, and now I'm just gonna go around my circle and just fill in this line. I'm just kind of sketching it out and connecting all of those dots that I have to then get me over here. All right. Okay, so now it is time to cut, and we are going to cut out our waist first. Okay. Just like that. And then we're just gonna cut a straight line this way, and then we're gonna cut all around here. All right. All right, so you guys, this is my pattern piece. Now what we're going to do, I'm gonna add another piece of tape down here so that it doesn't come apart. Just an FYI, packing tape works so much better on parchment paper to keep it together. So that's, you know, just a little suggestion. If you have packing tape, use the packing tape. All right, you guys, so here is my pattern piece, and I'm placing it on my fabric, making sure you do this edge along this folded edge, and this edge along this essentially double folded edge. And you guys, it does match up. So I did a fairly good job with my measurements. Now I use pattern weights. Basically, these are just big washers. I think I got these from Home Depot. It was either Home Depot or Lowe's. And I use these as opposed to pins, although you can use pins, they work just as well. I just find it quicker to do these pattern weights over trying to do, hold on, I need to bring this down a little bit, over trying to do the pins. It just takes a little bit longer, okay? All right, so there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is take my scissors and cut. And I'm just gonna double check it because right here at this corner, that is not lined up for me. Alrighty, so now I'm just gonna get to cutting. And we're literally just gonna cut this part and this part, all right? Y'all, it's so easy. Okay, here we go. Last cut, there we go. So now let me move all of this out of the way so that you can see what we are working with. Alrighty, so the fold, remember the fold? Here we are, you guys. So this would be half circle. There's a fold right there. This is gonna be such an adorable skirt on her. And then when we open it up, we have a full circle. So, isn't this, I love this fabric. It's so beautiful. Alrighty, so now our next step is to get our elastic band, and we are going to measure that. We're gonna sew it, and then we'll attach it to the waistband of our skirt, and we will sew that, and then we will finish our raw edges at the bottom, or hem. Okay, here, so I have this beautiful metallic waistband. It's like a gold metallic color, and it is 1 3/4 inches wide. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually measure it. All right, so my daughter's waist is 23 inches. So what I'm going to do is measure out 24 inches, an extra inch for seam allowance. So I'm going to put a pin right where that 24 inch mark is, okay? I'm gonna just measure twice, cut once. I know that was a little dramatic, but it's just a reminder to you. Measure twice, cut once, and just put your pin in there. Alrighty. And so I'm gonna cut that. All right, you guys, we're over here at my sewing machine. And so I'm doing the 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm putting my elastic band right on that 1 inch mark. Now I'm using red thread because the outfit, or this fabric has like a reddish tone to it, all right? So if we remember, so with this elastic, I'm going to actually do a zigzag stitch. I'm going to do it several times. So we have our first 2 stitches, and then we back stitch, and then we continue going, allowing it to do its thing. I'm using a universal needle. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm using a universal threading needle, and this is my universal presser foot as well. Okay, and the thread that I usually use, okay, now I'm back stitching, okay, and ending. So I'm gonna go over that line again, because you always want to make sure that when you're doing stretchy material, you just want to make sure that you are getting a really nice, secure a stitch line. All right, so going 2 stitches forward and then back stitching and then going forward again. But so yeah, I'm using a universal needle and a universal presser foot, and the thread is red, and It is a cotton polyester blend that works really well. All right, I'm at the end. I'm back stitching and finishing off. And I think I'm going to do, so I'm going to do it a third time. I know that may seem extra, especially since this is for my daughter. And you're like, oh, she's probably going to grow out of it within the next year. I know. But this is what helps longevity. So if I was doing my my own skirt, I would do this exact same thing just for longevity's sake. All right. Okay, but this will be my last time sewing to reinforce that. Back stitch and then finish it off. All right, let me bring my needle up. And I'm going to show you how everything looks. Cut that thread off. All right, so that is what we are looking like. And that's what we're looking like on the inside. So I'm cutting about 1/2 inch off, okay? And on both sides, I'm just going to switch to my straight stitch, and we're going to just stitch that down so that it is not popping up at any point, okay? Alrighty. Putting my fabric underneath my needle and then going 2 stitches. Oh, I'm still on. I'm on the wrong stitch. I gotta put my stitch length to 2. All right, now we can get going because I'm like, why is it not going down? So 1, 2 stitch and then stitch back and then keep going. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing and go over this stitch line multiple times, okay? I'm gonna do both sides like that. And I will be back, you guys. Okay, you guys, I wanted to show you, I'm going to be using my seam ripper because I want to show you, because I did not get this particular seam straight, like the line straight. And so when you're using, I already started, but when you're using your seam ripper, you are wanting to find, and it's easy because this thread is red, find that thread and you just rip it apart like that. All right. And you might have to do some maneuvering and stretching out in order to rip those seams, but whatever you do, be very careful not to rip out your, like, get any of the threads in your actual fabric ripped out, because that can create holes in whatever garment or project that you are sewing. But yes, I know some people, they are pros at ripping and they can go and just do one rip. I am not that one. And I am okay with that. I would rather be safe than sorry. I tried that once and just I tried it a couple of times actually, and got holes in the things that I was sewing. So I said, you know what? I would rather just be patient, take my time, and rip out those seams a little bit at a time. And it's been working for me. So, but I just wanted to come on here and show you guys this. You will be ripping seams in your sewing projects. It's gonna happen. I don't care how well of a sewer you are. It's gonna happen, okay? So don't feel bad. Let's just take a little bit at a time and do it so that we can have a more quality looking sewing project, okay? Alrighty, so that is the finished product. All right, you guys, so here we are. I am about to put my skirt together with my elastic band. Okay, y'all, so I did not have good footage of me showing you how to attach the waistband to the skirt, so I am using a scrap piece of paper and waistband to do so. So what you want to do is find your center points. We already have a back center, and so you can use that to help you with getting your front center in order. And you can also just measure out what your elastic waistband is. This is right at about 4.5 inches. So if we turn it over, we can see that our halfway mark would be about 2.25 inches. So I need to kind of shift that over just a little bit to get it at 2.25 inches. So my little waistband here is definitely smaller than the actual waistband for my project. All right, so 2.25 is right there. All right, so that's our halfway mark in the front and in the back, okay? Now all we have to do is just place a little pin on each side. It's already folded. And then that way we know which is, we know where to attach our fabric pieces, okay? Now, when we're attaching our waistband to our skirt, you're gonna wanna make sure that you are attaching it right sides together, okay? So this is the seam where I sewed, and you can see it. This is like the ugly side. We want to make sure that that's facing up, and we want to go on and attach it to our skirt. Make sure that those edges are lined up together as well. Okay, so there's my pin. Now we're gonna do the same thing to this front piece. So this is right at the center, and we're just gonna bring it in like this, and we're gonna put that right side together. So both of the right sides together, right there at the center. Hopefully you guys can see this well. And we are going to pin it, okay? All right, so now what I like to do for the sides, I like to just turn my skirt upside down or inside out, and then that way it's easier for me to go in and grab those pieces on the side. So here's my pin. I know you got, I'm gonna actually, let me help y'all out. I'm gonna put a pin up here to mark my sides because you can't see that pin that went underneath the fabric, but these are my sides. Okay, so now what we're going to do is attach the side pieces, and you most likely will have a crease from folding your fabric, so you can use that as your side. So I'm just gonna use that same pin and just pin the side, and then pin the other side together, okay? Make sure you are getting those edges lined up. So the edge of my fabric and the edge of my waistband are lined up. Now, we have gapping fabric. In order to fix that, this is what you need to do. Pull your elastic like this. Pull it, stretch it out so that it can line up with your fabric. So you pull and do the best that you can. This can be a little tricky, and then pin. Be careful not to poke yourself, okay? And we're gonna go around to another section, and we're going to pull like this, making sure those edges are attached, and then put a pin in it, okay? I'm gonna do the same thing here. Pull. Make sure those edges are lined up together, and then I'm going to place a pin in it, okay? And do that as many times as you need to get this as secure as possible and lined up as much as possible. All right, so pull, and then you're going to add a pin. All right, you guys, so now we're going to go back to the skirt. So I want to show you which stitch I am using. I'm going to go with this stretch one right here. And so I'll have to adjust my length to go on S2 for this stitch. So S2, so the red S2 lines up with the red stitches along my stitch selector, but I am doing this particular stitch because again, it's a stretch stitch. Now it will take longer for me to stitch it, but that's okay. Alrighty, so I have my fabric underneath my presser foot, and I'm literally just going along the edge. So my needle is going to be at the edge of my fabric. As I'm sewing, I am going to be pulling this band in order to catch all of that fabric. You have to do that whenever you are sewing with a stretchy waistband and cotton fabric. Otherwise, it's not going to catch all of your fabric, okay? So I'm starting at the back center seam, and I'm probably doing like 1/4 of an inch seam allowance in order to make this work. So here we go. I have my thread. So my first 2 stitches I won't worry about stretching. And then back stitch. And now we get into stretching. Okay? Now let me move that pin and keep going. Stretch, you guys. Stretch. Okay, move your pin. I kind of got this one a little close to that needle, y'all. It could have broken my needle. I have to lift up my presser foot. Alrighty. So I'm gonna keep going around, making sure that this part of my fabric stays flat, but stretch. Okay. Let me move that, put my pin back in my, move that pin. I have to keep pressing pulling my presser foot up because I'm getting really close to those pins. I'm gonna try not to do this that next time around. Alrighty, so again, stretch. Okay, remove that pin, keep stretching. Alright, I'm gonna keep going around like this until I make it to the back end, and I will be back, you guys. So I'm just to let you know, I am stretching on both sides. So in the back and in the front, I'm stretching my fabric as I go around. All right, you guys, we are finished sewing that seam. Now what I'm going to do just for safekeeping is just go around this entire edge and do a zigzag stitch to ensure that this doesn't fray. All right, here we go with the zigzag stitch. And I'm literally doing it at the edge. I forgot I had I need to get my stitch length, but I'm literally doing my zigzag stitch at the very, very edge, just so that it is catching those raw edges. I'm not doing anything special. I don't need to stretch my band because my fabric is already caught in there. So I'm just going to go around until I get to the very end. All right, you guys, so I just finished at the sewing machine sewing this seam. So now I have to be very careful because this will melt. I got my new iron, y'all, but I'm just going to press along the fabric line. I will not do the elastic waistband because it will melt. Okay, y'all, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll my hem up 1/4 of an inch all the way around and press.
Why is it go like
that's the steam. And so this can take a while to do. I know that this could be a little frustrating to do. But if you want a nice hem, take your time, fold it up a quarter. You can measure it. I don't always measure. I kind of eyeball it. But take your time and roll it up and press it. It's going to make sewing so much easier. You're going to be so happy that you took the time and you actually did it. Don't stress out too much about trying to get it perfect. One thing about doing a hem that is like a round hem and not a straight hem is that there comes a point where it's like, okay, this isn't going to fold straight enough for me. You'll see at the end there, but just keep going, do your best. It'll all work out, okay? All right, you guys, so I'm at the end of my first round and I'm just pressing it down. Now we're going to do it all over again, and I'm just going to basically fold it over itself and press it. And I will keep doing this all the way around until I come back to the beginning. All right, I just want to give you some pointers as I'm nearing the end. So when you're doing a rounded hemline, a good thing to do is to lift and kind of round out the top so that you can get this straighter. Because if you just press it like this, you're gonna have like that little bitty piece that wants to pop up. So I just fold, I press and kind of lift and iron into it, and it helps to get that smoother, okay? So this is the end here. Gonna do the same thing. And my last piece right here. My daughter's excited because she is ready for me to hem it so that she can try it on.
Yay!
But just, again, lift up. Watch out, watch your arm. Lift up. And press into it.
Yay!
Alright, press
Why
it.
is it iron so?
Alrighty, so if you want to, you can pin all the way around. It just depends on your comfort level. And the way that I would pin, of course, is just straight across like this. You know, again, this can be very helpful, especially as a beginner, to keep everything flat as you are hemming your garment. Or if you are comfortable enough, or if you want to just try it out, you can start off with no pins and see if you can just feel for the fold and go from there. Or if you feel like, you know what, this isn't for me, let me put those pins in there. Go for that too, okay? So I am today going to do pins because I am feeling more confident in using pins on this very day. I don't know why, but I wasn't going to, but then when I started pinning it, I was like, yeah, that feels good. All right, so I'm just gonna keep going around and then I will meet you at my sewing machine. Okay, y'all, so now what I'm going to do is just go around in a straight stitch, and I am feeling for the fold. The fold is right here. I'm gonna keep it on the edge of the inside of my presser foot on this side, okay? All right, I'm gonna do my first stitch and then stitch back, and then I'm just gonna keep going. Again, making sure that I'm more so going by feel on this one, making sure that my fold is right on this edge. Okay, you guys, I'm at the end. I wanted to bring you back on here with me so that you can kind of get some pointers for doing a circular hem. So one thing that I'm doing, I'm holding my finger right here just to feel for the fold. And I'm trying to keep it, like I said, in line with here. That way my needle will be able to hit it. And also I'm kind of lifting as I am sewing as well. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So here's my line, and I'm just keeping my finger right here on that line, and I'm lifting my fabric as well as I go along, because that's going to help get a straighter seam line for this curved hem. Okay, all right, we're nearing the end at our starting point, and we just want to connect those two back stitch, and we're done. And here is our hem. Is it perfect? Y'all know it's not. I already know it's not, but that's okay. It still looks good. On the outside or front side of it, all that you see is a nice straight seam line. This is why you sew on top, because the top thread is going to look way neater than your back thread, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go and press this seam, and I will show you the final product. Okay, y'all, so I have my pin here so that I know where I'm starting and where I'm stopping, because we're going to be sewing for a bit. Sew a seam, press a seam, remember that, okay? All right, you all, this is the finished product of my circle skirt. I am so proud of it. I am in love with this material. Look at that. I'm going to allow my daughter to try it on, and you guys can see how it looks. You guys, thank you so much for coming along with me as we did this simple summer sewing series. I got a chance to sew this beautiful circle skirt for my daughter, and it was our final project. I hope you learned something. I got back into the groove of things after not sewing for almost 2 years, so I'm happy with it. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you learned something throughout this series or even in this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Let people know what we're doing over here. You guys have a blessed day. Bye.